Hey everybody, this is Toby. I'm back. It feels so good to be back and be able to record again. I had some family over and I really couldn't get anything done, but now they're all gone. You could say sayonara suckers, and we're back to where we belong, RPG tutorials. And I'm here with my fruit shake, and I'm here to teach you guys about, where were we, switches. Now, I know I said in the last episode I'm going to be doing switches and variables and stuff, quote unquote, or something along those lines. Unfortunately, I thought of some other things that I can include in switches, so it's going to be a longer video than that. But since I try to keep my videos smaller than they can be, I can include variables too. Sorry. But since variables and switches are kind of have the same effect, I'm thinking you guys don't really need them both in the same video. Having them as separate videos is totally fine. You can use switches up until I show you variables. Then when I show you variables, you just replace the switches with variables. You following? Alright, so let's get back to where we belong. Back onto RPG VX. And here we are. Okay, so as you guys can tell, this is RPG VX. And here's where we're going to be taking a look at switches. Now, switches do one of two things. They either make an event disappear, or they make an event appear. Or they make an event do something else. So three things. They can make it appear or disappear, or they can make it do something else that you've scripted in. But it's easier shown than done. Oh, and I'm just getting around to that right now. Listen, I know there's a bit of a problem with, see all this text and stuff like mode, draw, scale, tools, game, help. Everything that's readable here. Everything. It looks like crap on YouTube, and I'm so sorry. But I don't know how to fix it. Not even my technical guy, Trey, knows how to fix it. So I'm at a loss. You guys are going to have to follow along my video and kind of guess what my mouse is pointed at if you can't read it. Other than that, I really don't know how to fix it. Any suggestions would be nice if any of you guys know how to use this kind of equipment. I'm using the highest quality without making the download even slower, so I'm doing my best here. But any of your suggestions would be nice. If not, suck it up. Alright, so first of all, let's make an event. Now, let's make a different one than last time. Let's just make it a hero or something. Alright, let's make it this cool guy. That's my favorite of all the heroes, this guy. He's awesome. Okay, so here he is. And here's Toby, our little hero here. Now, first, let's demonstrate the power of switches. Now, switches can be applied in a variety of areas. Here's where they most commonly be applied at. So, by default, this event is going to exist once you start the game. It's just going to be there no matter what. However, here's where the kicker comes in. This, switch index, we'll call it, can be checked off to set conditions for whether the event will appear or not. Now, I suppose I should just give you an example. Now, if I was to click in this box, this event will not appear on the map unless this switch called Awesome Guy is on, alright? And if this switch is on, this character will now appear. But the thing is, you're thinking to yourself, okay, how do I turn on this switch? How does the player turn on the switch? That's all up to you. Honestly, whether a character appears or doesn't appear is all dependent on the context of the game. So, let's say this awesome guy is waiting somewhere in the village. And he doesn't appear because, I don't know, he hasn't arrived yet. It's part of the thing. And you meet this other guy who's always here no matter what, unless you make a switch making him not here, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. Now, let's see. Here's this man. And he's going to say, I saw this guy with awesome blue hair by that house yesterday. I wonder where he is now. And after this, you can do whatever you want, but this is what my thing is going to be. After this, you put in a command that says turn blah blah switch on. And once that's complete, hang on for a sec. that's good strawberry. Anyway, once that's complete, this guy will appear. But until then, he's not gonna. So let's just do this quick. Alright, now you guys have already seen the commands before I did when we went over events, so we're going to fade out the screen. We're going to wait 60 seconds so that there's a small gap. And this is all just cosmetic. I'm just doing this because I'm awesome. Control switches. Now here's what's important. My mouse is currently on control switches, so let's hope you guys can follow along at home. You click it. You find the switch that says Awesome Guy. Oh, by the way, guys, remember, as you add more switches, eventually, I'm pretty sure the default will still be set on switch 1, so you're actually going to have to change it once you start creating more and more switches. Just be aware of that, or else you're going to have the same switch being activated when you actually mean to activate a different switch, alright? So just keep your eyes open for that. And you hit on or off operation. On or off is very important, but right now we want it on. And then the screen fades back in. Alright, why don't we see the result? Let's take a look. Alright, here's our hero. And as you can see, look, he's not there. Alright, so let's talk to this guy. I saw this guy with awesome blue hair by that house yesterday. I wonder where he is now. Fade out. And there he is. Interesting, huh? Now, if you talk to the guy, he'll do the same thing again, which is where I'm going to come to our next little thing. Okay, guys, there are two kinds of switches in this world. There are control switches, and there are self switches. Let's take a look. Alright. Now, control switches are something that happens in the universe of the game. They aren't... once they're turned on, they affect everything that has them as a condition. So, if I made 1,000 other events that all had Awesome Guy as condition, the moment it turns on, every other event, everywhere, even on other maps, that has that as a condition for them appearing, they'll all appear. Okay? So the switch affects all, which means you can use one switch for multiple things. Pretty handy, huh? Now, there's another thing. You have to keep making control switches, which can actually be a problem. Eventually you can reach a limit of how many switches you can make. According to this, it's 100. Now, this is more a small kind of... It's not a problem. You can change your max to whatever you want. Like that. 101 to 101. Now, with this, I'm actually going to advise that you can do this, and I advise that you do it, because I'm going to do it myself once I reach the limit for my switches. However, I heavily advise that you do not overuse switches and make like 1 billion switches, because believe me, there are shortcuts so that you don't have to make 1,000 switches. There are ways to drag a switch out to make it have multiple uses throughout the entire game. If you make 99.99 switches, or whatever the whole max is, eventually you will reach a limit of how many the max can be. It will lag your game. It will lag your game like an old lady on some kind of sleeping medication. And believe me, that is one slow lady. Now, I'm not talking about it's going to lag your computer. Your computer's CPU processor is going to be fine, but your game is going to lag. And I know proving that this game can lag without being affected by the computer. So if you make too many events in a single map, that one map will be extremely laggy. So guys, make sure to be careful with these switches. Stretch them out all you can. And here's how you stretch them out. See, I was going somewhere, wasn't I? Bet you guys wish you listened to that rant, huh? Or you just skipped ahead until I got to this part. So let's take a look. Okay, so you obviously don't want this guy saying the exact same thing over and over again every time you talk to him, because the goal of having that blue-haired guy has already been met. So you don't want him to talk to him 100 times and get the same result. By the way, this won't toggle. If you were to talk to him again, it wouldn't be switched off. It would just be staying in the on position. Keep that in mind for future references. Here's how you make an event do something else when you want. New event page. This new event page won't do anything yet. it'll just sit here. And here's the first page. Always make sure your pages go in order. I can't stress this enough. Now first, what we want to do is have the guys stay the same graphic. You'll get this in a sec. And we want nothing in the event commands so far. Alright? Now, when we want them to switch, we could use a switch, so we could set this as awesome guy, and the moment the awesome guy switch is activated, his dialogue will change. So the moment the blue-haired guy appears, that's stretching out a switch, but there is another way to stretch out a switch other than just that. Now, since awesome guy will be activated, this page will no longer be active unless awesome guy is turned off. Then it'll revert back to this. See, if this exists, awesome guy's on. But if it was suddenly turned off, this page isn't going to happen anymore until the switch is turned back on. Come to think of it, you would talk to him, awesome guy would be turned on. Oh, no, wait, there's nothing to turn awesome guy off in this page. Oh, well, wishful thinking. Time to get into self switches anyway. You guys get the basics. Self switches are a lot different. Like I said, control switches affect the entire universe of the game. Self switches only affect the event in itself. That's it. It only affects itself. It doesn't affect any events. Even if you were to copy and paste the event, the self switch would still affect that event, not its clones. Keep that in mind. Self switch is perfect for making characters switch their dialogue. Now, there is a limit to how many self switches you can have. It's very small and you can't increase it. Here's what I mean. After fade in screen and awesome guy has been activated, we'll put in a self switch. My mouse is on self switch, guys. You click, you hit operation on, and then you choose which switch you want to activate. It goes up to D, so you can create a whole bunch of different pages and different things that's going to happen with this event, but only about up to A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Only about up to 4. Was there a C, D? Was there an E? I don't think there was an E. Strawberries. Okay. Got some on my phone. Okay. So, as you can see, when self switch A activates, this event page will now be functional. And this guy will say something else, like, I don't know. Oh, there he is. And he'll just say the same thing over and over because you haven't specified him to do anything else. All dependent on you whether you want him to do something else, guys. But that's how they work. And if you guys know this little basic right here, you guys can do anything. Also, remember, you can turn off self switches too. So if you want to make it so that this loops back on itself, so after you talk to him the first time, blue guy appears, and the self switch A is on, and then at the end of this dialogue, the self switch A comes off, so that's off, this page will no longer happen, but if you talk to him again, self switch A will come back on, and blah blah blah, you get the loop over and over again. Of course, with what I've got set up, it's not going to do anything. Self switches are absolutely vital. Well, if you want to stretch out switches, they are, and you don't want to make pointless switches. For example, treasure chests have them, doors have them, they all have little self switches to help them chug along. I can't say they're entirely necessary because you can make a game without self switches, but it'd be limited, very limited, because you'd have to really stretch out switches, and it would take a long time. It'd be very inefficient. Make no mistake, self switches are the same as control switches. Once they're turned on, they don't turn off unless some script in the game that you've made and some event turns them off for you. And in this case, this event has to turn off its own switch. You can't have a random event somewhere else turn off this guy's A switch. Alright. Now, what else? I'm going to register how you can use some of these switches in Tobi's tricks, so I don't really see much of a point to continuing on. Well, I've given a little example, but how about one more? Let's delete both these guys. And I'll show you how the switches work. Alright. I'm going to make something like a thug and 3 of his buddies appear out of nowhere. This is just a little mock appearance thing here. And these guys aren't going to have any dialogue of their own. You can make them have dialogue if you want, but if you think about it, if you're going to engage in battle right after seeing these guys, and when they're defeated they'll disappear, there's no point in giving them dialogue, because the player will never have a chance to talk to them. You can give them dialogue by conversing with the man event, or I'll show you in a sec. Okay, let's say this guy is here, and all these guys are going to be activated by a new switch. We don't need awesome guy switch anymore. Bad guys. We're going to make it so they're all activated by the same switch. So, yep. Yep. Normally you'd have to switch that if you made more than one. It would say bad guys, but you'd have to switch it to something else. But that's later when you make much more switches. And bad guys again. Let's say when this guy's standing here, so the old man, and he's standing here by default, no switch is going to activate him. He's going to be standing here. And, oh gee, I don't know, he says, how's the weather? So, how's the weather? And remember, you guys, you can put in choices or anything, but I'm not going to. Then, the switch will activate. Shaw! Bad guys, on! And the dude says, man, whoa, bad guys, they come to steal my watermelon. I don't know, I just made that up. I may have spelled melons wrong, but I don't really care. Alright, first let me check where he is. Yeah, put him there. Trust me, I have a good reason for putting him there, and I'll tell you once I finish. Okay, and also, I'm going to put in some other extra stuff too. This is just optional. I'm going to make it so that this event, watch carefully, this event, the moment they appear, he's going to turn to the right towards them. And at the same time, there's going to be a balloon icon as well. An exclamation. And these guys are all going to appear. And this is assuming the player will be here. Normally I put blockages or something so that you can only face one direction. I do a whole bunch of crap. This is just a mock. Okay, and then, I don't know, one of the guys says, bad guy, give us your melons! Yeah, turns out that's what they were actually after. Oh, and also, they also have an exclamation mark. Just because I love those damn things. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. One thing, guys. You gotta name the events or else you're gonna forget. Bad boss. That way I'll know what to put the event over real quick. Da-da-da, bad boss, exclamation. Okay, and now they've already appeared. I'm not gonna do any more crap. Then, your character, so Tobi, he says, no one shall have his melons. Innuendos for the win! Alright, so, and you say that, and after you hit A, or action button, there'll be animations, but instead of putting them on every single enemy, I'll just put them on one, since this is just going to be short. Bad boss. Half down the time so it isn't so fast. Because it'll show 60 seconds, and then you'll wait like another couple seconds before he disappears. And then control switches, bad guys off. And then they'll all die or something. And then the guy says, thanks. And since you don't want this thing to happen over and over again, since this is a story event, you make a second page. You illustrate what you want the guy to look like. You could make him change forms if you want. If you want to make a transformation, you could easily do that. But in this case, you'd kind of want him to be the same. You hit Control Switch A to turn on. And the next time you talk to him, if you hit Control Switch A there, or Self Switch, sorry, Self Switch. Make sure it's Self Switch. Don't be stupid like me and be half asleep when you're trying to do a tutorial. I'm drinking strawberry shake. He'll say thanks again. Alright, let's do a quick demonstration, because I'm awesome with those. Start. Yes. I may have put in some glitches, but you guys are just going to get the general synopsis. Alright. Here comes the guy. And you see those guys aren't here yet. How's the weather? Whoa, bad guys, they come to steal my melons. Give us your melons. No one shall have his melons! Thanks! Thanks. And as you can see, they're gone. There's no trace of them. It's as if they weren't even here. This is because they appeared on condition of that switch. You can also make it to... I gotta do this real quick. I'm sorry. This video is probably getting long by now. I don't even know how long it is. Like, probably 20 minutes like the last one. Holy jeez. Alright. I'm not even gonna show an example because you guys are gonna get it spot on. You guys are awesome like that. If you don't get it, I've overestimated you, and I'm disappointed. You can make events disappear too. So, man, you make a new event page, but you don't do anything with it. Except you make a condition that says, disappearing guy. I'll just make it the next switch, instead of actually renaming the switch. Disappearing guy. And after you talk to him, he'll say, "Wah, I'm disappearing. Do this quick, screw the name. Wah. Yes, a Q, because I'm awesome. I am disappearing." And then you make a switch. And then you do this. Disappearing guy. On. And now that that's happened, he vanishes. And later, maybe he disappeared because he got hit by a meteor or something. You could go into a super mage guy and have him revived and have disappearing guys turned off. Of course, in that case, then he would be reverted back to this. So you have to make a new event page and make another switch that says when disappearing guys is turned off. No. Wait, it's a little harder than it seems. You'd have to make a switch that says destroyed, and when destroyed is taken away, he reverts back to this. Then you need to have a switch. I can't think straight tonight, but I could do that. Make no mistake. Of course, in this case, I wouldn't use disappearing guy as a switch. I'd use self-switch. But only if it didn't have anything to do with the villain. Only if he was just disappearing just for the sake of disappearing. Anyway, so that's it. You guys get it. Self-switches are just for the events. Switches are for universal and can be for events depending on what you want them for. But in general, you guys get what I'm talking about. Delete. And Tobi is back where he started, completely abandoned on this entire island. Poor him. Alright guys, I'm pretty sure I covered the switches pretty well. If you guys didn't get it, too bad. Now I'm going to get on to variables in the next part. Variables is about the same as switches, except a little more complicated. But not that much complicated. Still along the adept level. Anyway, this is Tobi. I'm glad I got to see you guys, and I am having crappy frame rates. Anyway, I am signing off.